Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, The Power to Live Your Vision. I am one part of your coaching team. I am Dr. Jessie Bowen, and my partner on making the world a better place is Coach Nathan Ray. Now,
Yes,
he's an
sir. Good
international.
evening.
How you doing? He's an international best-selling author, martial artist, golfer, you name it.
Yes.
Guy can do it. So I'm
Let's go.
excited
Let's
about having
go.
him on the podcast today. So this is really exciting. So, Coach
Yes,
Nathan, how
sir.
are you doing?
Hey, happy, radiant, free, shining bright like three diamonds, constantly getting after it. We were just talking a moment ago about there's no time limit on excellence. So hey, we're happy to be back with everyone who's tuned in and been tuning in. I'm happy to be back with you, sir, and hey, like as you always put it, making the world a better place. I love it. That's what we're here to do.
And that's what we really want to do. So if you're tuning into our podcast for the very first time, remember that's our mission. Our mission is to make the world a better place. How do you do it? Well, you take your success, and we've been blessed with a lot of success, and you then share it. You see, it doesn't become valuable until you share it. So knowledge now becomes valuable when we can share our experience of what we did right and also what we did wrong. But
Yes, sir.
today, we want to have a topic on your book can open the big door. And we want to thank everyone for reaching out last week and when we launched our website. Go over there and check it out now. And our website, of course, www.thepowertoliveyourvision.com. Coach Nathan, we have a book coming out in August, and it's actually a recap of our show. We've covered so many things that can make a difference in someone's life. So we decided to put it into a book, and that's going to be coming out in August. If you go to the website, again, that's www. The power to live
Power
your
to live
vision
your vision.
.com, and then you order a copy, and we'll both sign the book and send it to you. Plus,
Yes.
we still have our $300 offer. So when you now pre-order a copy of the book, you get a $300 savings card, compliments of elite publications. So, sir, let's just take and jump right into it. Our topic, this is what we're doing. So our podcast is pretty much talking about what we're doing every day. So, we just released a book last week. Someone says, why did you release a book? Well, again, a book can open the big door. So we're looking to open major doors by helping people. And the more the book can help someone, the more people want to read it. They want to know about it. And all these doors open up for us. So let's chat about that, sir. So let's
Yeah.
talk about the book. Let's talk about the big door. And I know you've got your books and magazines and stuff. How does
Yeah.
these things impact you and your business?
Well, I tell you, the go-to, and I think this is because this has just been something that's been done so long, which a go-to is a business card. A business card would speak about what? It would show that you're a professional. It would show that that you were on another level. You were actually someone who was about what you were about. But I mean, but a business card gets lost easy. It can be tossed out easy. But you know what? The big step forward is to be published and be an author, because I say it like this, Hanshi. You had they call them OGs, and whatever you're doing, you got the OGs. Well, the OGs of influencers is a published author, someone who's been published, because they become the authority. They are
Mm-hmm.
the one that people can look at and see something physically tangible that represents a high level of dedication and a high level of professionalism. And the thing about your books and your publications is they don't just get tossed aside. People are very slow to toss a book in the trash. or to misplace a book or a magazine. Right before we got on tonight, a woman came in and with her little one, and she was talking about the program, and someone had mentioned to her on the way in that, hey, we are a school. We're not just a kick or a punch, but we're an actual school of character development and leadership. And I was able to pull out my magazine. I'm on the cover of the magazine, and immediately that speaks volumes to the person. It says, hey, I'm dealing with someone on another level. And then inside of that particular article that I wrote for the magazine, Martial Arts Extraordinaire, if you all haven't picked one up, you need to go pick some up. We got some different topics, different magazines with Martial Arts Extraordinaire, and they're timeless. They're filled with knowledge and information from the experts. So I was able to pass that on to her. It had a write up about the principles and the philosophy of our school, how we do things, and it makes life much easier. She could take it to her grandchild's parents, and now we can get them enrolled and get them in here. So yeah, you having a magazine and being a published author carries weight.
Well, I would ask, what did you do today on your job? Well, I was sitting around myself today on the phone. I had four authors I was speaking with about writing
Nice.
their book. I've got
Mm,
a new online course that I'm building is on website that's called School. So I'm building a classroom there to really talk about these things. Now, one of the biggest things that I've discovered after writing books is that people begin to see you differently. So your perspective of who you are changes. I was coming out of the bank one day last week, and my license plate says number one author. And as I was coming out of the bank, lady stopped me out of the blue. She says, "Are you an author?" I go, "Yes, ma'am, I am." And we began to engage in a conversation. She says, "I've got a young man that I'm working with. You are the perfect person to help him." And so I've been talking with him. And so now, I just sent him a proposal for helping him with his book. But just like that was a talk piece, when they discovered that I was an author, that really made the difference. And then come to discover she was at ECU University and I'm at Duke University. And so when all these things match up, I was a perfect person for them to be able to engage. Now, because of those different things that I've done, as an author and, being in those positions, so it makes me a person of authority. My books open doors for me to work with companies such as Duke CE. I've actually been standing in front of Nike, on the Nike campus, speaking to their CEOs about the power of positive thinking, energy. But I've got books that are actually on those particular topics. So it makes me an expert. American Express and other companies that I've had that chance to stand in front of. But I've written over 63 books, so that makes me an expert on a whole lot of topics. And not because I'm chasing every opportunity, but because the books create credibility. Because in every walk of life, these are things that I do every day. So my books are really about what I'm doing every day.
right. That's great, Hansi. Um, as you said, number one author. That speaks for itself because they are very few and far between. And when people get with you and they get with elite publications, and I share this with quite a few people, there are quite a few people that have such interesting stories and lives. I met some people on the way back from Colorado at the airport. Hanchi knows me. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to get to know people. I've got new friends in Miami now, but I was speaking with them, and they just had such a fascinating life. They had just shared with me a little bit about it, and I said, hey, have you ever thought about writing your book? I said, you should write a book. That what you just shared with me could help a whole lot of people. And so I always tell people to check out Elite Publications. And any whether you work with Elite or not, just work and get your book out. We I will say that Elite Publications is top notch and is, as we always say, you might as well press the easy button. You're getting with someone who's written 63 books, they and many of them number one sellers. Then you want to get with someone who knows how it goes, someone who can guide you along the way. We all need coaches. We all need mentors that can help us. So it's great that you're knocking out your goal. I know you had a goal of connecting with 100 authors. I'm working on the goal too because I think, like you said, that because everyone has a unique life and unique perspective, that we can all grow from and learn from each other. So having it in a book is, I mean, if you just look back at history, the history of the world has been profoundly changed and the world has grown and evolved because of publishing and because of books. So, yes, sir. I think I might have lost you. Are you still there, sir? Either I lost you or you all lost me. I'm still here. I think we might have lost Dr. Bowen, but I'll keep talking in case we are still recording this and still getting this. So let's move on with the idea of what we're talking about and see if Dr. Bowen pops back in. So another part of becoming an author is knowing what tools you have. What are your tools to write a book and to put a book together? But beyond that is to understand that the book itself is the tool, okay, in your toolbox. It's the master tool. So by having a work, you can do things like increase your enrollment into your programs, into your business, whatever you're doing. You can build your brand. You can create trust in the market because you're seen and known as the expert. So let's see. Greetings, sir.
Okay, well, I guess that was that.
Well, I'm on my side. It says 12. It says it's still recording live. I don't know if it's still being recorded, but
Yeah, it must be on my side.
yeah, I think so. I was just telling the people, and you'll have this. We'll use it. I guess it can go in the editing room floor. But yeah,
Right.
so I just kept talking.
Let's keep it going. I'm trying to get over here, log back in.
Okay.
It must be my connection.
See if
Let's
you
go
can
ahead.
see if you can log back in. It's still recording. So yeah,
Let's go.
I'll just keep talking.
All
Yes,
right.
sir. All right, there we go. Dr. Bowens is making his way back. In case this is still being recorded, we're going to just keep on rolling. However, we talked about increasing enrollments. That's one thing that you heard the story I just gave about the young woman that came in the dojo with her grandchild, being able to give them professional material, things that look great, so that we can enroll new students and new prospects. You can build your brand. Of course, publishing helps you to build your brand. Now, I can tell you about the first book that I published, which I self published, and that I still use today as part of our martial arts school program. This is our master textbook. And I was in California when I got the call. Hey, our book is in Barnes and one of my assistants said, our book is in Barnes and Nobles. We're on the shelf. And that was just so exciting to know that our work had paid off and that we were on the bookshelf. At the time, we didn't use as much of the language as it's used now, but it's exactly what it is, which was I was building a brand. And having your book on the shelf at Barnes and Noble gives you that credibility of building your brand. So that's another plus. How about as you build your brand, you're creating trust. Again, because people see that you're the professional, that you're the expert. So it gives them another way to know on a higher level that you've gone deeper than the average person. You've actually published your work. Uh, it opens up media opportunities, of course, interviews. If you see people when they go on the talk shows, the late night talk shows, then you'll notice that many of them come on the show and they're showcasing their new book. Especially if you remember Oprah, when in the heyday of Oprah Winfrey doing her show, she had a book club, and the people that wrote books, the well-known celebrities and other leaders that had written books and gone on her show, they were able to promote their books. How about general online income? So, a published work is the gift that keeps on giving. You know, as you publish it and as people value it and grow to know more about it through marketing and so forth, they can continue to order and support your efforts in whatever research and work you're doing. There's that residual income that comes. Excuse me. You can build your social media influence. So, as I mentioned before, a book allows you to be the OG of influencers. You're using what we call old reliable to be, oh, excuse me. We're using the old reliable way to publish a book or a magazine to help influence. And so then we can transfer that to social media. So there you have it. Now, here's the caveat, the challenge for people. And that is what? That is, let's wait until we got it perfect. It's not quite there yet. Well, if you wait for that, it'll probably never be there. So let's put that to the side. And as I said, get some coaching and some guidance and go ahead and get your story out there. Go ahead and get that work done. And then you can always do a second edition or a third edition or a fourth edition. Make it better and better. But don't sit on it. As I said, your story matters. And being able to publish and get it out there, your words as they are, might just be the thing that turns someone's life around. All right. He made it back. Yay. You missed it. You
Okay.
missed the excitement, sir. You missed all of
I
it.
know I did.
I had a coughing spell right in the middle of it. I'm over here, eyes tearing up and coughing. I'm just like, oh man, okay, we surviving out here.
Well, when you're under attack, you have to fight back.
Gotta keep going. Gotta keep fighting. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So
That's how I
out
know
of the,
this is going to be an impactful show, because look at all the challenges. That's how it happens. When you're
well,
doing something impactful, challenges are going to come up.
well, no, the universe doesn't want us to tell folks how to empower themselves,
Uh-oh.
but we're not going to let that stop us. So we're going to take
Uh-oh.
and jump right back in here. And like I said, this here will be up on the editing floor. It'll all be all chopped up, but hey, that's okay.
Hey,
But
we'll get it
that's
done.
just another good example. When someone gives you an idea to write a book and you got negative things that come up in front of you, and then you decide to turn around and you don't do it. And then someone has written that book that with all the information you had planned on putting in your book, but you didn't do it because you were
Yep.
discouraged by someone else. And when
Yeah,
we look at a book, you and I in my meeting. So how do I start a meeting off when I'm talking with a client? Well, I start off by asking, what is it you want your book to do for you? And that's what you have to really understand, because a lot of people, authors I meet, they get their ego out here and they fail because of their ego. They just want to tell people they wrote a book. And if
right.
nobody reads it, they don't really care. And so that's some of the things that you have to ask yourself. If you're going to write a book, then okay, who am I going to write this book for? Who will
That's a
pick up
great
my
point.
book and read it? And so therefore, when you're making your plans, you want to start with the end in mind and begin to find your marketplace where people would want to know what your content is. Someone says, well, I don't really care about the money. Well, and I always say, well, listen here, we have a nonprofit organization. You can make a donation too. But
Right.
if you don't
Give me
market
yours.
your book, then it's really difficult for people to discover your book. So if you're going to write a book, even if it's a children's book or whatever, then having a good plan before you write the first word. And when you're dealing with a book and you're writing a book, then don't wait to finish the book and then try to market the book. You want to start marketing your book 6 months earlier. You want to have that book out there that people are standing in line. They're waiting to get a copy, just like our book that we're giving a $300 hotel savings card to go and pick up a copy, purchase this book, powerful book, on the shows and things that we've done. But I know, I know you talk to a lot of people because you're meeting a lot of people. And, when they discover that you have, been a part of our anthology system and you have written books. So how do you feel that people perceive you?
Right. I was telling a story in the interim there about when my book first went to Barnes and Noble, and how that really was impactful. Because people absolutely, and we covered this a little bit, which was people absolutely see you as the expert, and well, they should, because there's no one that's just published a book that didn't put time, energy, and effort into putting something together as best that they could, at the highest quality that they can. I think most professionals know that a book is a representation of themselves, and they want that to be the best ever. So for me, it was great. There's a part of it that, like you said in the beginning, is ego. We have that part, but it's better now. Especially now with time gone by, I understand that there's so much power in the marketing. We spoke a little bit about building your brand. We were talking a little bit about what that influence can do to change other people's lives. So that's much more fulfilling than anything about our ego could ever do. So yeah. And then we had just gone down and we were talking a little bit about not waiting for perfection. I think that kind of starts to blend into what you were just saying, which is not procrastinating, base using that as the ultimate excuse for procrastinating. I'm waiting for it to be X, Y, and Z.
Well, and you're exactly right. And this is the reason why you have to have a plan. And it's just like in business and everything else. If someone opens up a business and they don't plan for their business to grow and have profit and have value, they're going to have to close down shop.
Right.
And, and they're just going to get lost out there and that's going to have to close down. So your book is the same way. So, one of the courses I'm developing is called Create a Six-Figure Revenue, the Blueprint for Success. And so
Nice.
when you can now create a book, what about if your book could bring you in an additional $50,000 this year? What if your book can bring you in an additional $40,000 this year? What if your book can bring you in an additional $30,000 a year? Or why don't your book can bring you in, $150,000, this year? Yeah, you say, well, can books do that? Of course they can do that. The more people that you have that subscribe to your mail list, your email list, your social media, your marketing, and all of those things. So you have to ask the question, how do I empower my knowledge? And you begin to become an expert. I know, Coach Ray, what was it last year? You took the speaker course that we all,
Yes. Yeah.
and that was, so you're being groomed to be that next level, because my whole thing is you have to educate yourself and take
Absolutely.
a speaker course. And now here you're on the podcast. Then you went and
Right.
got your coaching certification. You already had a program, but now you're a certified coach in time management, goal setting, success, and all these things. And now
Yeah.
your book would make a lot more sense to me than some dude over there talking about goal setting, but someone that's really,
Right.
activating and being
Yeah.
active, proactive in using those different certifications and degrees to help them to be able to build a stronger foundation under their authorship.
Well, I mean, and this is something that you and I have spoken about at length, is educating authors to know that there are levels, as they say as the young people say, there are levels to this, and like you just said a moment ago, getting past your ego and understand that publishing is the ultimate marketing tool if you use it properly. It is credibility, it is reach, it is authority, it is power, it is all of those things that really can set you apart in the marketplace. Being the expert in your field, being a published author gives you the ability to transcend the norms and the average mediocre state of being. So hey, publishing is certainly more powerful than I ever realized. I'm very thankful for you being a guide and a mentor to all of us in the publishing field, because there's so much untapped potential for those that will actually publish a book. And I think just at the end of the day, it just comes down to doing the thing. We gotta, like you and I, we joke sometimes, but at the end of the day, it just comes down to one phrase: get her done.
Get her done. I told a client that I said, listen, I don't play. So, if you want to go, I said, you have to realize you have just moved up, you've been upscale, dude. So before you invest your money, your energy, and time, I'm gonna tell you what you're getting. I get it done. That's the bottom line.
Right.
And I was looking over here
Yeah.
because of Sensei Wellendorf's book that he wrote back in the 80s, Who's Who in American Karate. And,
Yes, sir.
I took over that title and moved Who's Who in the martial arts. But I had someone to call me and said, well, I was featured in that book back in, 1979 or something like that. And I'm going, oh, really? But you see, here it is, many years later, over 50. And that person, well, close to 50, that person now, he saw something about Who's Who, and here he is, he wants to be a part of it again,
Nice.
back at the beginning. So he still remembers that copy, of the book. And that's why I was looking for my copy here. But those books, are still there. And, you have that beautiful album set that you gave me about a month ago. And it had the book in there. So these things are powerful, powerful tools. And we want to encourage you to look at yourself and look at where you are, whether it's a book on your family reunion, your school reunion, your spiritual life, solving a problem, or you've been there, done that, and you can keep me from going there. So you can now discover your writing skills on any of these topics, but you just have to remember, you have to take action. You have to make the big step. You have to do all that. And I can tell you that one book can change your life forever.
Absolutely.
So why not? Why not? Give us a call, 919-618-8075, or you can email us at info@elitepublications.org. Remember, check out the podcast. We're on YouTube. We're on all your social media platforms. We're on, we are actually on Roku TV.
And our new website, right?
Got to go to the website and check it out. That is a great looking website. And don't forget, when you get to the website, order your copy of the book, because When you order a copy of this book, there's an automatic success reaction. And that success reaction is when you order a copy of the book, we give you a $300 hotel savings card. You've been thinking about going on vacation. I don't know if I can afford it. Hey, listen here, we're giving you $300. Go take the wife out, go on a trip, go do something, give it to somebody, give it to bless someone else. You get blessed, turn around and bless someone else. Any final words from you?
Well, the power to live your vision.com is the website, thepowertoliveyourvision.com. And now I would just end on this to remember that books, and you just said it, books transcend time. And when we talk about legacy, what a great legacy having a book is. Think about all the authors we get to commune with them and to learn from them, and they're physical, they in their bodies they passed on, but that book and what they had to share has been captured and held in their published works. So think of it also where you can transcend time and you are that can be part of your legacy. So I'll just leave with that.
All right, Coach. Well, as always, good to see you. Always good to chat
Yes,
with
sir.
you. And
Pleasure. Yeah.
everyone,
Yes,
we're
sir.
just trying to share something. If you feel that it works for you, that's great. Check it out. Listen to it over and over. Sometimes you have to listen to something more than once for it to really hit you, what we're really talking about. So check it out. Everyone,
Yes, sir.
be blessed, and we will see you next week.